everybody. I'm just going to test and see if this is live and stuff is happening. It might be. I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. Yes. Woo! It's working. This is good news. So, what I'm going to do is I thought, considering that 50% of my games have been recorded at the World Championships, I thought I'd go through and review some of them. So I'm going to do this in some semblance of order. I'm going to watch it first on the Fantasy Flight channel. Instead of doing all of my games in order, we'll review the FFG ones first because honestly, I'm not sure how long they're going to stay up. So if I can get those done first, make sure that they're saved from the Twitch channel. And then we'll go to the ones on Gold Squadron and on X-Wing Junkies as well. So I will go do all of these and yeah, we'll go from there. So this game is, which is this one? This is the top 32 of the World Championships. You can see on the screen there we have Darwin against myself. Just to give you a quick breakdown of the lists, I will do so just while we're setting up. You will be able to hear the standard commentary in the background from FFG. Obviously, you can go and watch that if you'd like to. But I'm going to be talking over the top of this. You can also see the stream chat as well, so there we go. What you can see here is that I'm coming up against the scum monster that is at the moment. We have 3 Khiraxz. Basic ones, Initiative 2, don't have any upgrades, 38 points each. They're pretty efficient. You also have Torkhil in the Hawk. Now, Torkhil's ability, he makes 1 ship in his arc, so that includes both the forward arc and the side arc, because he has the multi-crew upgrade. That makes him give a pilot skill 0 to a ship. He makes one of the opposing ships pilot skill 0 for the entire round. Just for shooting though, not for moving. But it does mean that all of those Khiraxz gets to fire before, and maybe initiative kill, one of my higher initiative aces, which is good. Hey Duke! Thank you very much, I appreciate that. I should have the chat box up, so thanks to Duke Hobbies. You guys should totally check out my video I did with Duke on how to play Vassal. It's awesome. I've also finally got multi-streaming up, so you can see that there are now Twitch and YouTube viewers. So yeah, the final key in this list is Seevor, Captain Seevor, little TIE fighter there. When he shoots you, if you are not pointing at him, you get a jam token, which is really bad. Also worth remembering, that happens if you shoot him as well. So if you don't get the bullseye onto him, then technically he can hand out as many jam tokens as he likes every turn. Thanks guys. I won a thing. I don't have a webcam, otherwise I'd be sitting here like stroking my monster trophy. But there we go. So we've got that, and yeah, my list. So I might as well review it. We have Grand Inquisitor with no upgrades. He doesn't need any. He's amazing. His ability is that he can spend a force to make his range 2 or 3 shots essentially range 1. It doesn't mean that it counts as range 1. He adds his range 1 bonus. So your opponent will still get any bonus dice for being long range, but he gets 3, which is important because it means it's consistent firepower. Also, he can use that ability to turn off your opponent's range 1 bonus, so he is incredibly tanky, because if he flies into range 1 with 2 force and takes an evade token, he spends his single force to reduce the attack of the incoming ship by 1, and then he's got an evade and a pseudo focus to spend. So if he's taking a single shot, likely he doesn't take any damage. You then have Whisper. On the right hand side, you can see that Whisper has passive sensors and Fifth Brother. Of course, a lot of people were asking me why to bother taking passive sensors and don't take Duke. My personal opinion, passive sensors does way more damage. It allows Whisper to take target locks. With Fifth Brother, you already have a pseudo focus, which gives crits. So Whisper is a target lock crit machine. It basically turns her into Vader. You guys know how hard Vader hits things. Well, Whisper hits just as hard in this version. Might not have the Duke, but doesn't need it because you're constantly getting those hits. And it means it's a lot easier to spend the evade because you're not constantly having to rely on having the evade to push damage through. You can spend your evade defensively, and then because you are so consistently hitting 3 hits every time or 4 hits every time in range 1, you're not so worried about getting the evade back that Whisper automatically gets when she does the damage. Finally, at the top of the screen here, you can see that we have Darth Vader. He's got passive sensors and afterburners. Passive sensors is incredible on Vader because it means that he can use actions after he takes the target lock, which is really, really good. So he locks at the start of the engagement, at the start of his engagement, which normally means when you lose the initiative, he can take a target lock at initiative 7, essentially, because after everything else is moved, after all your Synth L's with a massive beard have done all their stuff, he then says, right, I'm going to take my target lock, I get to choose what I'm going to lock now that I've seen the board state, and then I can barrel roll, I can focus, and reposition him to make sure he has a shot. So, what we've got here, we have my standard deployment, where Inquisitor is at the side here, and our 2 damage dealers are right at the top. Obviously, Inquisitor is bait. You can see that Darwin deployed here, so I immediately put Inquisitor opposite him, trying to draw him down this side. These 2 guys will sort of wander up this way a little bit, and Inquisitor will come along the bottom. So Inquisitor does a bank in, takes a cloak token, ready to run around. Oh, what can he say nice things about me? That's nice.
It's actually a common trait amongst 186. They're very clear on what they're doing. They communicate very well. They explain what they're doing.
Great sportsmanship. I mean,
what has been really interesting to see is there's been a lot of comments on my stream games about how I commentate through exactly what I'm doing while I'm playing. I think it's possibly a bit of a bit of a side effect of the fact that I do these videos, because for you guys, obviously, I'm chatting through and explaining what I'm doing during the game. So I don't know, maybe that's a side effect, but I've started doing it in game, and apparently it was really helping the guys on stream work out exactly what was going on, because they've got a microphone set up above the board, so they can hear what I'm doing. What I've done here, you can't see Vader; he's presently hiding behind the timer. Vader's done a 5 forwards, Whisper's done a 2 bank, and Inky's done a 2 forwards. What that means is I immediately, there you go, you can see the 3 there. Yeah, so as Duke is saying, if you're playing on Vassal, you get used to typing out exactly what you're doing, so that you don't have to explain it, which is quite nice. Yeah, for some reason I don't think the chat box is coming up. There we go. You can see the chat box. Let's make that bigger. Let's do that. Chat. Let's not lock the chat box. Let's make it bigger. Oh, too big, too big. Right, where are we? Let's put you down there. Nice. There we go. You can now see yourselves. Isn't that good? So, let's look that again. Beautiful. So, the idea of this deployment is, first of all, Whisper gets a cloak in the first turn of the game. She's pointing at a rock because normally someone 2-2s an asteroid here, and will also usually come up with Vader. Vader does the 5 forwards, Inky does the 2 forwards. That allows, already I've got 3 points for my aces that my opponent has to decide which way to go. If on the first turn my opponent had turned up the board and gone up this way, then Inky can immediately do a hard 1 and a barrel roll backwards and tuck in nicely behind my opponent's list. Gives him that option to try and provide problems over that way. Whisper has the option, say for example I'm playing against a list that ends up over here quite quickly. Whisper does have the option to decloak down the board and run away. Vader doesn't really mind jousting too much, but if my opponent is going to come in quite fast, say for example I play against a list that is a lot of initiative 5s, and they deploy opposite me, then Vader doesn't have to do a 5 forwards, he can do a 1 forwards and barrel roll and just go over there. Also, the fact that I've worked out the ranges, Vader barrel rolls towards the end of the board, which means that Whisper always has the option to decloak this way. So I can always decloak left, right, whichever way that I fancy. So that's the idea. Yeah, as you can see here from Andrew, I do talk quite a lot during the game. I will constantly just have a conversation, how's your day going, etc, etc. Not because I'm trying to put my opponent off, more just because I'm a nervous talker. So there we go. So you can see here, Inky once again keeping his options open. He does a 1 bank. As Darwin has come down the board here, he's decided that, okay, I'm just going to keep on being the bait, and he needs time. He's basically giving the Whisper Invader a little bit more time to, there we go, to get around the outside. Because really what I want to happen here is Whisper Invader come around the back. If my opponent isn't very clever, they'll just allow me to do that. They'll allow me to get in behind and nuke my opponent off the board. I mean, you've got lots of target lock focus shots coming in, or target lock force shots coming in from these two, so they're usually pretty good at killing things. So there we go, that is the idea there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to let this go for the entire time. I'm going to talk you through my thoughts at the important points though. That's the whole point of me doing these videos. I am going to skip through some of the planning phases to get to the important parts, because there's no sense of you watching an hour and 15-minute game. You can see here that Vader is just keeping his lines and options open. Whisper is also able to do the same thing. It basically, right now Darwin is being very, very clever and careful. He has many options right now. He could bring his ships into the middle of the board with a 1 hard, or a 2 hard from the Hawk. He could continue going down this way, or he could just do a nice gentle bank up into the board this way. There isn't really any reason for him to commit right now, because I'm trying to get behind him. So this is why Inky is over here, trying to cause him to go for Inky, and allows these guys time to go around the back. So if I just skip a little bit through the planning phase, we'll get some dials down on the board. See the side, lovely. So there we go, we got some dials down. Decloak happened going over to the side, give myself more space. Likelihood is I'm doing a hard one, because of the fact that it's pointing Whisper here, so whichever way these guys go, she can then commit backs and forwards either way. Right then.
Yeah, it was a tent. It was a drafty tent.
So yeah, we can see here that Darwin is just cruising down the side of the board. He wants to force me to come in. He doesn't want to have to make a decision which my ship should go for. He knows that I will try and hit him from behind. So he's just slowly rolling down the edge of the board, so we'll just get those there. There we go. Inky did the 1 bank. Comes in. Again, I've got options to go either way. I actually decided to barrel roll towards him this time, and I just want to take a second to talk about why I did that. If you see here, he is happy just coming on the edge of the board. I need to convince him to commit to Inquisitor. As soon as I roll outwards, then it's likely that he's going to turn into the middle because he has the time to commit to either way. If I roll this way, I'm going to continue to get him coming down the board. Knowing what moves I dialed in with my other ships, which you'll find out in a second, that's good because it allows these guys to get around the back, which is exactly what I want to do. So there we go. Whisper does the hard one. Lovely.
Just too far out to start diving in yet anyway. So once Vader barrel rolled out, there was no real reason to go in.
True.
All right, and then Vader. There we go. 4 forwards. I didn't quite want to do the 5. The 4 allows me to barrel roll either side, depending on what my opponent's done. If he'd have turned in here, I would have barrel rolled outwards. As it is, I think I still barrel roll outwards just because I want the range around this asteroid here. Lovely. So, going from here, we've got some possibilities. Again, I've got 1, 2, and 3. My ships are all split around the board, and he doesn't really know where to focus on, which is ideal. Now, you can see in the chat that a lot of people, I mean, what's the time of the game right now? We've had about 15 minutes already. Nothing shot. I'm target locking asteroids in this purpose. The purpose of that is, you can see here we have Seevor. If I take a target lock on an asteroid, and Seevor shoots me, and I don't have any actions, then he can take off the target lock instead of giving me a jam token. Now, giving me a jam token could mean that I can't take any more actions, whereas jamming off a target lock that I have on an asteroid is not useful, and it just provides me a little bit of extra preference as to what he jams off me, which is nice. Alright, so moving on, again, we'll just skip a little bit. Planning. Here we go, moving forwards. So, decisions-wise, if you have a look at my ships here, I'll just before anything moves, we just have a look at the ships. So Vader here is in a perfect position to do a 3-bank around the edge of the board, or even if I forward to the barrel. Inky, at this point, is continuing to be banked. He can either come down this way, come into the middle of the board, or go over here. At this point, I remember what I did. I'm not going to tell you yet because it's interesting when we get to it. Whisper has a choice of decloaking upwards or downwards of the board. Decloaking downwards would cause all of the ships to come in here, which I think is bad at the moment, so I need to decloak up the board, give myself some space to play around with up here if I need it. So, oh, changed my mind. I decided to try and bait him harder towards the bottom of the board, give Vader time to get around the back. Yeah, so that's why Robot Rob, that was why I started tag blocking the rocks. I always ask my opponent right at the start of the game, do you have jam in your list? If I do, then I tag block the rock. And X-Wing SHG, absolutely, the jammer does now choose which thing to take off. However, if you only have a target lock, say for example you have a shuttle, an Imperial shuttle going against you. If the shuttle moves in and jams you before you get to move or before you get to do an action, then they give you a jam token, which cancels out your very first action. However, if you already have a target lock on an asteroid, it jams off the target lock, allowing you to then do any other actions with your turn. You can take another target lock, you can take a focus. It doesn't force you to waste an action getting rid of the jam, because you've already had the target lock jammed off. So it's a really good habit to get into. If there is anything with jam in your opponent's list, take a target lock on a rock. Also, be careful if they have seismic charges. Target lock the asteroid which you think is least likely to get pinged by a seismic charge. Because if the seismic goes away, makes the rock go away, you don't have a lock on the rock anymore. So, useful little tips. Sometimes it is a good idea to target lock asteroids. You can also target lock your own ships. So remember, you can target lock a friend if you think they're more likely to stay around longer than an asteroid. I try to lock the asteroids because in this game we have nothing to get rid of asteroids. Now, I did a talon roll here. The reason I did a talon roll, if I'd have turned left, it would have been obvious where I'm going. If I'd have turned right, I would have been too close to these guys and I could have got caught next turn. Doing a talon roll gives me information first. Right now, I still have the options of going left or right. I've just put off my decision by turn. Whisper, after decloaking down the board, did a hard one and then a barrel roll, almost exactly where she was. Once again, I've just saved time. I know exactly, I don't know where he's going to be, so I've just stalled my decision. I can still come down here or over here. So I just stalled and saved some time. There we go. Yeah, so that was the thing. I did that. So Vader's over here. He locks the rock as well. And Vader's got a real nice clear incoming here. I could have gone a bit faster, but I'm aware that Whisper is going to take a little bit more time to get into the fight. I want Whisper and Vader to hit at exactly the same time. Inky here is the clear bait. He is now, I now have the perfect situation because I've forced Darwin into a corner. Now, he has two options here. I've gotten rid of the bank option, so he's either coming around the corner or he's going into here. Perfect. For me, I can now fully commit Vader because I know that he's coming over here. I can fully commit Whisper because I know he's coming over here. It doesn't matter which way he goes. I can now decloak, come all the way around the rock over here. We'll just skip forward a little bit so we don't waste any more time. Lovely. And you can see Darwin is really thinking about his options. He knows that he's in trouble here. Because of the fact that he is trapped in this corner, he doesn't know where Inky's going, but he does know that now my ships are going to start to come in and trap him a little bit. We were having a bit of a giggle about whether or not I might joust him in this game. It should be fairly clear that I'm never going to joust this kind of list. I have 3 aces. I'm going to avoid them as much as possible. So, overhead view. You can see that Whisper has decloaked up this way, ready for either a hard 3 or a 3 bank in, depending on which angle I want. Likelihood is probably a 3 bank, because of the fact that if I was going to attack the rear of this swarm, if they decide to hard 2, then I want to be able to 2 forward, 4 forward next turn and really get behind them. Same thing with Vader. Inky, I have a couple of options. I can't actually remember which way I went. Because of the fact that there was a possible hard 2 coming in here, I don't think I would have risked coming in hard 1, because then Inky could have got caught by 3 or 4 of the 3 dice shots, which is bad. what are the force tokens you're using on Inky? A force token on Whisper. So the force tokens I'm using on Vader are the official ones. I have a red dot at the bottom of them because it's impossible to see. The force tokens I'm using on Inky are from Marcus Thiesch from the Australia crates. Really nice guy. Lives in Australia. Is actually German. Really friendly guy. Came over when I met him at the Yavin Open actually, and he had some target locks. They're basically Vader's hand reaching out to grab you and choke you, force choke you. The one I'm using on the on Whisper over there is blue on one side and red on the other. That one was provided for me by Scott Bryant. I won it in one of his battle tournaments that he was running. It has the lightsaber on one side and the lightsaber off on the other, so I painted it blue and red just to make it nice and clear which side is which. I use 3 different force tokens for my ships because of the fact that as I have so much force on my list, I don't want to get these mixed up. So it's very clear which one is which ship. And Andrew and Lloyd are presently giving me a bit of crap at the bottom for putting me on stream because, I mean, obviously, I'm never going to engage, ever. So why would you put me on stream? Because it's just going to be a boring game. However, I really like this kind of game. It's very positional. You get the idea of like how I would like you can't just joust someone with aces. I know a lot of people complain about jousting and whether or not to do it and how to do it, but this is a very good example of a game where you take your time and you're patient. And if you're patient, it works. Now, I did the one bank here with the Grand Inquisitor because it actually gives me some decent options. I can continue. I still have room for a little one hard in the bottom here. I have enough room for turn around the corner, and we go from there. So I now have a very clear view with Vader of the back of this swarm. So I've got some decent options here. He is, because he went too forward here, he's put himself properly in the corner. He only has really one move. I mean, he does have 2 talon rolls on the Khiraxz, so that was an option. But I felt like the most likely move is he's just going to come around the corner. So there we go. So let's just skip forward a little bit here. Also, Buff Angel, I'm going to be doing this for every single one of my recorded games from Worlds. 50% of my Worlds games were recorded, so you get 7 games of which I'm going to be doing commentary on, explaining why I did what and what I was thinking at the time. I'm going to do them as soon as I can, so that I can still remember most of the stuff that was going on in the games. But I thought I'd start off with the Fantasy Flight stream ones, because I know that they're just on Twitch, so they might disappear. So here we go. The Khiraxz there doing turns in. There we go. Comes around the corner. Shockingly, they had to turn. Do I have a stream schedule? Not really. I mean, it's half term right now. This is the one game that I'm going to be able to get out before I go on holiday. My girlfriend has been very good and allowed me to go to World, so thank you, Kate. But I'm now going to have to. Well, I say have to. I'm going to Amsterdam with her for a few days. It'll be really nice. See some of the Dutch guys again, hopefully. But I will be streaming all of next week. I'll try and keep it to the evenings because then I know America and Europe can both enjoy it. I will also be putting all of these straight onto YouTube, so you can check out my YouTube channel. Some of you are already watching on my YouTube channel. But if you go to youtube.com/c/Ollie_186, you can see all of my games that I will be putting on there, commented like this. So, Inky does another talon roll because it opened up his options really nicely. If you have a look here, I skipped. I did the 2 forwards there with Whisper. That was why I did the 3 bank last turn. Now, either here, the idea is that because he's going to be there, I've either dialed in a bank maneuver, which allows me to sit behind the rock, decloak behind afterwards if I wanted to. If he'd have done the K turn, the bank maneuver would also allow me to decloak down this way and come 4 forwards, hit him in the butt if he K turned. Alternatively, I've gone for the hard commit and gone for a 4 forwards. Can't remember what I did here. Vader is almost certainly doing a 5 forwards to try and catch him around the back. So yeah, with the school thing, I was blown away, honestly. I wasn't expecting it. It's the same thing. Normally, you don't get time off. It's just not a thing. But because I run a gaming club at my school, the headmaster said it was a really good sort of example to set to the kids if you could go to the World Championship. So he was very, very kind, and he let me go. Okay, so here we go. Same principle. It's two forwards. You can see there that if I was to decloak to the left of the ship, so towards the Khiraxz, I would still have space to decloak down that way. As it is, I can now choose to decloak forwards again, maybe do a 3 hard, or decloak to the back, to the right, and get myself a bit more space. Vader, toot toot, 5 forwards. Hey, thank you. So Pink Viking, for those of you that don't know, is Noah. You should totally check out his work because he is an amazing painter. I'm a physics teacher, Robot Rob. Physics and chemistry. It's really fun. There we go. Yeah. As Alex is saying there, the afterburners are absolutely get out of jail cards. You do not spend them early. If you spend them early, you die. Just straight up. You don't have time to get out. So as Alex is just saying, he's being very nice to me, but he said it's a perfect flank. Vader is now in. Yeah, absolutely. I play Star Wars. I have physics and chemistry. I mean, I also ice skate and snowboard, so that's my slightly non-nerdy credentials. But here we go. So thinking here, I'm just going to go back slightly. Just going to have a look at the board state there because it's nice to have a look at the board itself. Planning for next turn. Thinking about where we're going to go. Now, Inky is stressed. He's not entirely sure what he's going to do. These guys here are... sorry, words are hard. Yeah, these guys here have 3 options. That's the entire point of playing a game against a swarm if you are aces. You always want to give them more than one option. Ideally, it's 3, because normally you have 3 aces. If you're giving them 2 options, it's a 50-50. They have more chance of getting it right. You want to give them as much opportunity to turn in the wrong direction as humanly possible. So, obviously, with the Khiraxz having access to the 1 turn, they can turn on a dime, but the Hawk can't. It does have access to a 2 turn. Right now, the Hawk's arc is pointed towards Vader. Not too much of a problem. Obviously, he knows that Vader and Whisper are the threat. Seevor could do a hard one and barrel roll here. So I'm not really... I've got to be a bit careful with my moves in the next turn. If I was 100% certain that he would go forwards, then Whisper could just do a nice easy 2 decloak forwards, hard 3. The problem is if I put her right here, because she will just be 2 decloak will be there, and then hard 3, she'll be sitting about here, about range 3/4 of a range behind the asteroid, and it will put her at range 2 of almost every single ship in this force, which is very bad if they all decide to turn in. Whisper will just evaporate. Like, she gets pilot skill 0'd by Torkhil. She loses her evade token because it gets jammed off by Seevor. There is no way Whisper comes out of that with more than a couple of health, if not dead. So I am forced to decloak up this way, because regardless of what you think your opponent will do, you cannot commit until you are certain. If there is the small possibility of everything turning on Whisper, you can lose the game on that call if you get it wrong. So don't risk it, basically. Same thing here. I know that the Khiraxz have a 4 forwards. This has a 5 forwards. I could do a 1 bank in here. If I do a 1 bank in here and they've gone 4 forwards, I'm dead. I've just lost a 52-point ship, and these Khiraxz, I have to kill a Khiraxz and a half to get that back, or I have to completely kill the multi-crow, which is really difficult. So over here, I can't quite see the range because it's an angle. I don't think a 2 forward would fit. It would land me on the gas cloud. So the likelihood is I'm doing a 1 bank or a hard 1 away, at which point, if it is a good opportunity for me to come in, then I can always barrel backwards, ready for the hard 1 next turn. Alternatively, I can 1 bank and boost around the asteroid if he's fully come in here and threaten the side. So that's the idea going over there. Vader, depends on how hard I think he'll commit. With afterburners available to him, even if everything does the hard turns, the likelihood is the Hawk is only going to do a hard 2, so that will put him here behind the rock. So because of that, I'm feeling fairly comfortable with either a 3 bank, but likelihood is I will probably do a 4 forwards, or maybe even a 3 forwards, because a 4 forwards plus the afterburner boost would put me a lot closer to the board edge, and that again opens up more opportunities for getting behind him next turn. And if he completely turns his butt, then it's pretty good for me. So those are my thoughts. Let's wander forwards and see what's actually happened. So you can see there's quite a bit of thinking on this turn. There is half an hour gone, nothing shot, which is about normal for my games. But that's because we've got to get it right. So I've got my dials on the table. A lot of people might have said, just a quick one, a lot of people might have said that I was a bit careful here and I was playing a bit slow. What you'll notice that Darwin was actually slower most turns on his dials than I was. That's because he has the burden of execution here. Aces, a lot of people view aces as the pinnacle of X-Wing. Actually, I think it's easier to use aces than it is to use generics, because generics you have to get your maneuvers right immediately. Aces you can use repositions afterwards to get it right from there. So almost done. There we go. So we declick up the board. You can let's just have a look at a quick reaction there. Right, as soon as I decloak, you can see him. I think that's a vindication there. He knew that I'd do that because I've been being so careful. So the reason that I think that's a celebration is because I know what ships he's just moves he's just done. And here we go. He is committed hard to the Inquisitor. Now, Whisper Decloaking gives you a bit of an idea for those of you who want to play against aces. Look at the decloak. That will give you information about what you think your opponent's done. So he thought the fact that Whisper decloaked up the board here meant that he thought I was I was coming in here, and he thought that maybe I thought that he was turning up the board. As it was, he's gone hard for the Inquisitor here. As I said, they have 4 forwards. I'm very glad that I covered this.
Absolutely. I expect the Inquisitor to kind of peel off from this engagement as well.
So Alex is calling my cowardice already. Thinks that the fact that Inky is going to turn away. He is correct. I have done a 1 bank to the right. Yeah, Darwin has done a super good job here. He's normally people are way too aggressive with swarms. He's spotted the ace game. He's gone, nope, I know that I cannot commit too early, otherwise I'm going to get torn apart from behind. So there we go. He's done really well. Yeah, Death Rain, Charles Burkhold there on the bottom right is saying, on a scale of Dale to Ollie, how patient are you? So Dale Cromwell is very well known for jousting with aces. I am very well known for not engaging ever.
This is a typical 186 thing. Scale of Dale to Ollie. How patient are you? For those who aren't aware, Dale is joust anything all the time.
There we go. There's the 1 bank. So 1 bank comes away, and I can immediately boost. So because I've now boosted out range, I'm fairly sure that Seevor has me an arc here. So I could have stressed myself with Inquisitor for the extra defense. But if Seevor shoots first and I'm in Arc of Palob, well, Seevor's going to shoot first anyway. That means I lose my focus anyway. It wouldn't have mattered if I had a focus token, because as soon as Seevor shot me, it would have disappeared. So there's no sense in stressing myself out. It gives me less options next turn. And it means right now that, yeah, Inky is unstressed and able to do what he likes.
It'd be interesting to see if Ollie called this and hard turned in with Vader.
So, Whisper, hard 3. I still wanted to be able to shoot, but I didn't want to be too close. Would have allowed a barrel roll away if I really needed to as well. So there was always options there. Vader. So I'm just thinking about whether or not I barrel roll here. I kind of want to keep myself where I am because it gives myself options for straight decloaks next turn. Also, that's the passive census token there. It allows me to take a target lock if I'm in range on a certain Seevor. And what you can't see there is I'm in his bullseye. So I can shoot Seevor without any bad things happening to me. So Vader did a 1 bank, just in case he came in. I feel like maybe the 3 forward would have been better, but oh well. I was having to be super careful here, so that's that. I consider barrel rolling and trying to shoot Seevor, but again, I would lose my target lock just as when I shot. So, you know, barrel roll outwards. That means I have a very safe move in next turn if he decides to one hard everything. Alright, so he's just checking Seevor there, doesn't have any Seevor triggers. That's absolutely fine.
Oh, we're gonna see some.
Alright, so Now we get a Whisper shot. We get the bullseye from Whisper into Seevor. Now, Whisper has a target lock and the focus of the Force, and this is where you see really come into effect just how accurate passive sentence Whisper is. She's just as accurate as Vader and hits just as hard because she has the automatic crit for the focus. Most rolls, you'll get a focus. So most of the time you're getting a crit in with Whisper. Alright, so focus and target lock. Now on average, you'd expect 50% of the time you get 2 evades on a range 3 shots. 50% of the time you get 1 evade. With an evade token, I've got a pretty good chance. It's about 50-50 on whether or not I do a damage because I should get 3 hits. Now as it is, when Darwin rolls this, he gets a single evade, so I get a critical, which is always nice. So here we go. 3 crits on Seevor, always nice. It's a fuel leak, which is incredible for me because it means that if I shoot him once more with one of my aces, then that is going to be giving out a crit almost certainly for either Vader or Whisper, and that means that I'm probably going to kill Seevor at a single shot if I get a good shot on him. Now we've got here, Seevor does have a shot on the Grand Inquisitor. Doesn't really care about the shot, but it does get rid of any tokens I might have, which is why I decided not to do that. So 2 misses. Oh well, Seevor's not really there to do damage. These guys are there to do damage, which is why I put Gas Cloud. There's a reason I boosted immediately. It's because I had a Gas Cloud in between myself and the Khiraxz. So both of these guys have a shot. However, I have 2 Force and I have the Gas Cloud in the way, so this doesn't do me any damage, I believe. There we go. Yeah, so all the things. So at the end of the round, we regen all the things. I wanted the disrespect of getting 5 evades, so I flipped the Force on the last shot of the round because I could. Right, so this is when life gets a little bit more interesting. So what we've got, again, these guys have 3 options. They can hard one in on Whisper, they can try and bank and kill the Inquisitor, or they can do a K-turn and try and go for where Vader is going to end up being, sort of around here. Eventually we'll get that out of the way. So what I'm going to do is we'll skip forward a little bit, we'll get through the Dal's phase, and then we will go for... we'll get a bit more of a top-down view of the board, and we'll go from there. So questions for you guys, where would you put Whisper in this position? Because... let's just see. So let's just have a look at the board quickly. What we've got is we have the entire swarm here. We have Whisper over here, and Whisper does actually have 3 decloak options. You can just, if you bank in this way, clear the rock here, but there are 2 main ones. It's either a forwards or it's a decloak this way. Now, knowing me, I'd probably decloak this way and bank in. Likelihood is because just in case these guys all turn up the board, to a decloak this way and a bank allows me to then barrel roll and not get shot by anything. I've already got the evade. Vader here is either going to do a 5 forwards or a 3 bank. And the 3 bank allows me to barrel roll either side of the asteroid, depending on what these guys have done. 5 forward would force me to use my afterburners if I wanted to get a good shot. And again, I don't really want to use my afterburners at this point in the game. 35 minutes left. I might need them when all of the shots start happening. Did I go to America to play this? Absolutely. I was in America up until about 2 days ago. I'm feeling a little bit jet lagged right now, but everything's fine. Honest, probably everything's probably fine. So yeah, I flew out to America on Wednesday at about 4 o'clock. I got back at much too late at night, basically on Tuesday morning, and I'm now reviewing things because it's half term and I can. So there we go, which is kind of cool. Alright, this one I didn't see coming. This was a really good move by Darwin. So he did the 4K with everything. And because he did the 4K with everything, he spotted the fact that Inquisitor was the threat. Now, Inquisitor is a pain. He's very annoying, but he is absolutely not the threat in this list. He is the distraction. You can't ignore him, because otherwise he sits behind you taking 3 dice shots all day. But he isn't the damage dealer, and he isn't the thing that's most expensive. So turns around and goes for the two actual aces as opposed to the little one. And this takes quite a skill as well. Obviously, the Hawk doesn't have any form of K-turn, so the Khiraxz can turn around, the TIE Fighter can turn around, Captain Seevor, but the Hawk can't. So a one bank followed by a hard 2 is a really good way of getting pretty much all of the ships in the right direction.
What's the plural noun though?
And we're just arguing about what the plurix of Nantex is. Nantexy? I don't know. I just don't want to see more than one. Honestly, I don't want to see one of them. I had to beat 3 of the damn things. I got no Nantex games on stream as well, which is a real shame because so many people have asked me, how do you beat the Nantex? Would have been good to be able to do that online, but oh well. But yeah, I mean I've beaten I beat 3 Nantex in total on the course of this weekend. One of them was Sunfac and 5 droids. One of them was 3 Nantex and Grievous, which was horrible. It's my first cup game. And one of them was a CS1 with Chertik in as well. Now, this here, Inky called him. Now, if he'd come for Inky, I've still got the gas cloud. If I do the hard one, I can always barrel backwards or just boost towards the board edge. Here, Whisper does the one bank, just in case he turned in. And at this point, I do have a decent shot here. And you can see once again that I have a certain Seevor in bullseye. This is what I'm just checking. Because I don't. If I shoot Seevor without getting the bullseye, I do not get the evade. Because he just jams it off. So he immediately jams off my evade, at which point I don't get to recloak unless I do a damage. Did I play the same list with every game? Are you required to play the same list for every match? Yes, you are absolutely required to play the same list. You have to hand in your list at the start of the tournament. So at this point, this is game 10, I think, out of 14 with the same list. Also, I've been playing this list for about 4 months now. In slightly different iterations, but I've been practicing with the same list quite a lot. You play against different lists, obviously, but you use the same one because that's the one you submitted. Now, Vader decided that he wanted to barrel roll. Just want to talk about this one quickly. A lot of people may have decided to barrel roll the other way with Vader. Now, right here, this is a really threatening position for me next turn. You always, with the aces, have to be thinking about the next turn that you're going to be doing things. What you have here is you have the ability of this entire swarm to come in and nuke Whisper or to nuke Vader, one of them. It doesn't matter which one they go for, it has the ability to do one of them, which is really bad for me. Inky is now behind them, which is great, but next turn what's going to happen is they're going to slam forwards at something. I don't want to provide him with one area that he can just ram all of his ships into and know that he'll get a shot. If I barreled Vader to the left, he would get that shot because he would be able to just 2-bank all of his ships in here. Seevor comes around. The Torkhil comes around as well. Everything points into this hole, and he knows he catches me. Going over here forces him to split his fire. Whisper is going to be over here next turn because she'll decloak, so she'll probably go boof boof and decloak around. Vader comes in here, and it's forcing him to choose. So because of that, it gives him good options. Now, I got greedy here. I made a big mistake. The big mistake was not giving Whisper a barrel roll this turn. Either way, really, because I don't have any good options left or right to decloak. I took the target lock because I believed that I could kill Seevor. He hasn't got any. He's only got a stress. So all I need to do is if I'm in range of Seevor here, I just need to put a single crit into him and I kill Seevor, and therefore I can easily win the game because Vader no longer has his locks jammed off before he shoots. The problem with playing against this list with Vader is that Torkhil makes Vader initiative 0, at which point he jams off the lock before he fires. Real big problem. Anyway, going onwards, Vader barrels this way, takes a target lock onto the Hawk because at this point I know that I can put 2 good shots into the Hawk, or I can nail down Seevor and put some decent firepower into the Hawk. So he barrel rolls, he takes a target lock. I don't take a focus because right now I don't think I'm going to do damage with Vader. I'm just looking to take off some tokens The real reason I don't take a focus here is because with passive sensors, you really have to manage your force, and I'm expecting Vader to need all of his force next turn to defend against these guys. I was expecting them to come pretty far forwards. Yes, we like subs. Thank you. So that was the idea. I don't want to go over force. If I need to, if I get a good shot, I can spend a focus on the attack. But Vader now has a shot onto, and I bleed in front of the dice. Oh no, it's me. So he's trying to initiative zero my ships. So Whisper is going to get zeroed. That's about expected. The reason I wasn't so worried about having my evade jammed off by Seevor here is because, hey, good to see you. Good to see you, Anna. I'm sending you hugs over the internet. Thank you. So Seevor gets a shot. We know he's in range, but he's going to zero onto. He gets a choice. He's going to zero onto Whisper because that means that hopefully he can do damage before I shoot and get my evade back. So Vader goes first. Just does some plinky blinks into that, and I get a pretty bad roll. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna reroll everything because I haven't taken focus, and just a single hit. I don't spend any force, so I mean, what I should have done there is I probably should have just taken the focus and shot him, but I was concerned about Vader, so I think that was a mistake from me. I should have made sure that he died. Now, what Darwin is now doing is just checking for range with Seevor, and unfortunately for me, Seevor is not in range. I thought that this was a freebie turn. I basically get the TIE Fighter for free. I was out by about 2 millimeters on the range ruler, which is annoying. But the Hawk is in, so I get to shoot the Hawk, which was nice. What I should have done is, if I'd have double tapped the Hawk here, I possibly could have killed it. Like Vader puts a decent amount of damage into it, Whisper puts a decent amount of damage into it. The problem with shooting a Hawk is that you never know how many evades it's going to roll. It's got 2 focus tokens and 3 green dice. It could very realistically take 0 damage here. And I've wasted a lot of my resources on it, put myself in a bad position. So I never like diving into Hawks because they have too many focus tokens. Anyway, moving on. Let's just skip forward a little bit. I do 2 shields to Torkhil here. Target both, gets 3 hits, and his green dice are pretty unlucky. But hey, my reds were pretty bad on the last one. So we do 2 shields. So right now, no one's done any points, but I'm technically up a little bit. And this is where we get into the danger zone. So I just get an overhead. There we go. See, the other advantage of passive sensors there is that I could wait and see what happens until the end of everything else firing to take my shot. Because now that I know what damage things have done, I can take a target lock on the thing that I really need to kill. So that's the idea. So, carrying on. Let's give us an overhead view, because that's going to be much more helpful for discussing this. Now, Inky is in a fantastic position. He's just behind. Come on. We'll just skip a little bit. Vader is not in the best place. He's in trouble. This was the gamble that I took. I knew that my opponent was going to have to point at something. Unfortunately for me, Vader is that something because, well, it's Vader or Whisper. So, knowing that I had a problem here, I decided to do the hard one with Whisper. I decided to not decloak, because if I'd have decloaked this way, I would have gone straight over the asteroid. If I'd have decloaked forwards and everything turned at me, then I would have been in serious trouble. So I decided to go fairly non-committal here. Inky is fine. Inky can come around the corner and start murdering things, which he is want to do. But Vader and Whisper have to be super careful, because I don't know which one he's going to go for. So there we go. Just while this is going on, just talking to Scott, which was my MVP? I'm going to have to say Whisper. Whisper is she's the MVP against anything generic. It varies from game to game. Vader is incredible against aces because of his passive sensors. Inky is an absolute tank, who is the distraction, and Whisper is the thing that kills swarms for me. There's a reason that this list doesn't do quite as well when it has Suntir in it, because Sunter is great against other races, but isn't as good against Swarm. The fact that Whisper can move sideways is so good. So I didn't decloak here. You can see right now that he can choose to move his ships in any order. So he's going around the corner. There is a threat from Torkhil. If I'd have decloaked forwards and then moved, I probably would have crashed straight into Torkhil. In hyperspace, I use Sunter with targeting computer and outmaneuver because he is a monster. He just isn't as good at killing Seer Swarms. He's good against pretty much everything else. I wouldn't mind him so much in this game, but he's not as good against droids because Discord missiles make him really sad. Okay, so Darwin is doing fairly well here. There is a reason that I did not cloak. I didn't decloak. So the idea is here that Whisper can sit pretty on 4 evade dice, possibly with an evade as well, and just sit there pretty, trying to be safe.
Which is kind of crazy to see in a game of X-Wing. Just like, herding them about, trying to separate them.
Yeah, thanks for that, Scott. I still have 2 of them, I think, just kicking around, but that's it's my favorite force token. Because of the fact that, oh, come on, you've got the blue lightsaber. I know I'm using Imperial, so technically it should be the other way around, having the red lightsaber, but I've got the blue and the red. So there we go. So there we go. Right, so we've got the moves here. Now, Darwin has spread out his shots. He's made a nice wide net for me. So I now need to decide who I end up going for. So he's just considering whether or not to barrel roll, evade, or focus here. He ends up taking the evade because he has got a fuel leak and could do some damage. So Whisper does the hard one. I considered whether or not to evade here, but if I evaded, these guys would have been in range of me here. So I decided to barrel roll out of arc, out of range, and then only Torkhil is going to shoot me. So Whisper with 4 evade dice and the Force should be able to dodge a 3 dice shot, even if I take a shield. Not terrible. Not terrible. And it also gives me a pretty decent decloak option for next turn. I can decloak backwards and hard one in, and it allows me to carry on murdering the Hawk from my position. So there we go. Thanks, Christopher. By the way, for those of you that didn't hear, oh my god, the noise. Like, the support of everyone at Worlds was insane. Like, not only my squadron, but everyone from Europe. So thank you guys. Yeah, so just, that's a good question. Just to pause this here. So Scott's just said a lot of talk about my ability to spot win conditions. Right now, what is my win condition? Now you've had a time to think about it. The win condition here is twofold. First of all, it's not taking any damage. If I lose Vader, I've lost. I cannot do enough damage. Right now, my opponent has 2 damaged ships. I was hoping to kill the Khiraxz first. I was hoping to just get some good shots on one of the Khiraxz, but it turns out I got some damage on Seevor and Torkhil. Because of that, that is my win condition. If I do a single point of damage to either of my opponent's ships, I win the game. If I don't take any on mine. Now, likelihood is, because of where Vader is going, I am going to end up taking damage on Vader. So really, what I need to do is I need to kill Torkhil, which is why you can see Inky and Whisper are in really good positions at this point to do that. He's put himself out on a limb. He's on the edge. So next turn, I can come in and murder Torkhil pretty effectively. The other thing that I could do is if I put a single point of damage into Torkhil and then smash up one of the Khiraxz, half of Torkhil and half of Khiraxz is more than half of Vader. Or if I just get the kill shot on Seevor and half of Torkhil, then that also gives me a win as well. So shifting forwards, Inky comes around the back, target locks the Khiraxz because it's a good opportunity for a target. And then I think about my life choices, and I realise that actually the Hawk is the win condition. You can just see me do that there. My original thinking was that I kill the Khiraxz at the start because that's how I win. But then I reassess and go, no, actually, I kill this Hawk to win. So that's what I do there. Okay, so moving forwards a bit, Vader does a 1 forwards because he wasn't sure. Now at the moment, Seevor has crack shot, so I don't want to stay there. He's going to jam off my target lock, so there's no real point taking a target lock. So I barrel roll backwards, out of range, out of crack shot, or maybe just I have to accept the crack shot and I don't bother giving myself anything else apart from a focus. Oh no, I just sit there with force. I should have taken focus then. That was silly of me. Oh no, because yeah, sorry, Seevor can jam off the focus as well, so I just sit there with the force for defense. So going back, here we go. So starting off with Inquisitor. Inquisitor shoots first. We get 3 hits because I was lucky. Spends the force to the range. Oh no, 2 hits and an eyeball. Spends the force for 3 hits. My opponent spends the force, and I get a single point of damage onto Torkhil. This means I'm now up. So get half points on the crow. Always nice. Now, again, I've got a pretty decent win condition for next turn. I should be able to kill Torkhil next turn. So I have a look at that. Now, Seevor is range 3 into Vader. So there we go. We get a single hit because he took the evade. I roll 3 dice. I spend a force, or I think I checked whether or not the bullseye was in. I don't think the bullseye was in, so I decided to not spend a force for that one, because we checked previously. Now we have a look for the Khiraxz. Because my barrel rolls this turn are perfect information with the aces, obviously. We only have a couple of shots. We're just checking on this one, and Vader is basically just hoping to not take that much damage here. That's the idea. So skipping forwards a little bit. Basically, I spend some force. I don't take any damage. Oh no, like 1 shield. There we go. So Vader taking a single shield there, not a problem. I have to spend 2 force to do it, but he's fine. Now all I have to do is I have to keep Vader alive and kill Seevor. That is my win. I cannot risk not doing any damage. So sorry, Torkhil. Torkhil has to die, because if Torkhil doesn't die and Vader goes half, then I don't win the game. So right now I'm looking at Inky. Inky is not stressed. He has the ability to do a much faster move, and he already has a target lock onto the Hawk. Because he already has a target lock, that means that I can very safely 3-bank in and just rely on my target lock for my attack. Whisper has the ability to decloak backwards, and then hard 3 or hard 1 or do whatever he wants to do. I'm fully aware that Torkhil is going to come around the corner here, or she's going to go fast at Whisper, or he's going to go fast at Whisper. Because he might go fast at Whisper, I cannot risk doing a 3 hard. He might go past me, he might block me, so I'm going to have to do a 1 hard. That also allows me to get a good angle on him if he comes down here, and allows me to trigger my passive sensors again. If I trigger my passive sensors, I have a focus and a target lock, so it should give me enough damage to finish him off. So the next problem is how to get Vader out of trouble. I want to get an overhead view of this, so we'll move forwards a little bit and have a look, and I will talk you through my thought process. So moving forwards, move forwards, move forwards. You can see the timer here. We have about 9 minutes to go. Okay, so let's just go from there. Right. So with 9 minutes to go on the turn, there might be one more turn. This might be the last turn. Looking at Vader's options here, if he comes hard 3, so the likelihood is that Seevor's probably going to K-turn, or he's going to hard 1. 2 options. This Khiraxz I was expecting a K-turn from, and goes over here. These guys, you don't know. They're either going to go for Whisper or they're going to go for Vader. Torkhil is almost certainly doing a hard 2, but there is a very small chance he could do a hard 2 and boost up this way, or a 3-bank and boost up around here. So that's why Whisper's doing the hard 1. Inky dials in a hard 3-bank over here. And Vader just has to think about where he could possibly go that isn't going to get blocked. Now, I thought of the 3-bank, but I think the 3-bank is possible to get blocked by this guy. He can come in and block that. If I do a 3 hard, there is going to be a lot of ships around here. It's too dangerous. There is a possibility that Seevor just does 2 forwards. So my thinking here is, where can I possibly go that minimizes the amount of shots on Vader and allows me to get out next turn? The end product that I ended up with was 3 forwards towards the board edge, because most people don't expect you to go straight towards the board edge and get that close. I thought that maybe I would get the Afterburners boost out of it as well, which would allow me to get a shot on some of these Khiraxz. If I had had a little bit more time, I probably would have done the 3-bank, because the 3-bank should have allowed me to not get blocked. It was very unlikely that I would have got blocked in that position. And hopefully it would have allowed me to get some shots, because if I have another turn, Vader also needs to be doing some damage, and a 3 bank allows me the 5 forward option next turn, which allows me to get out of trouble, because the likelihood is if some of these things smash into me, I should be fairly healthy. With a 5 forward out next turn, Burner's barrel roll gives me options for escaping. So you've always got to be thinking a turn ahead, and at least thinking about what your exit routes are for when you plan your maneuvers. Because of the fact that we were getting quite close to time, I decided that I was probably going to do the 3 forwards because I thought that this would probably be the last turn, considering how long our turns be going already. There was going to be a lot of decisions to make this turn, a lot of shooting, so I thought this was going to be the last turn. So, as you can see, lots of thought going there from Darwin. Oh, sorry, apologies. Let's go back one, because there we go. That was where the shit was beforehand. That was the reason I didn't do 3 bank, because this guy was yet to move. Could have just done a 1 forwards, or sorry, 2 forwards and blocked 3 bank. There we go. So forwards. Here we go. So we get some more ships moving. He thinks very hard about doing the barrel roll to block the 3 forwards, but I talked to him afterwards, and he said, "I didn't think you'd do it, because why would you point yourself at the edge of the board?" So here we go. We're marking the Hawk. This guy comes in 3 bank. Hawk comes in 2. Seevor does a 3k. So you can see here that it would have been a terrible, terrible decision to do a 3 bank or a 3 hard. No, his win condition is to kill Vader, not just halve him, because he knows that the Hawk is probably going down this turn, so he needs to get a really good shot on Vader. If I'd advanced 3 hard, I wouldn't have got out of that hole. A 1 forwards would have actually been a decent move, because I would have been able to nuke this guy and probably halved him as well as killing the Hawk, so then it wouldn't have mattered. But there we go. Anyway. So, Whisper does the hard 1. The reason I did the hard 1 there and not the hard 3, as you can see, is I now have a certain Hawk in arc, so I'm not relying on dice. I get to have the target lock, so I trigger the passive sensors, get the lock. Inky then comes in and says, "Hello, we've done a fast 3 bank," takes himself a focus, and lines up the Hawk. So right now I'm range 2. I've got a force to spend for my long range shot to make it a range 1 to get 3 dice. So 3 against 2, with as long as both of my ships manage to get those maximum hits, even if the Hawk rolls full of aids, it cannot survive. So likelihood is I get 3 hits. Even if he gets 2 evades, I still kill the Hawk and I still win the game, as long as I can keep Vader above half. At which point Vader ends up there. I agonize for a little bit about a Afterburners boost, because I'm reasonably sure that it doesn't fit, but I want to try it anyway, so I decide I'm going to spend it anyway. So we take the Afterburners, tries it, doesn't fit by about a millimeter on the edge of the board, so there we go. And I'm only taking shots from 2 ships there, because I've dodged this guy, I've dodged, this guy I've dodged, and this guy I've dodged. So all of those 3 are muted because I didn't come into the middle. Right then, so Whisper does hit crit to the Hawk. There we go. So force is spent for that. I had the target lock anyway. He spends his focus. Apparently it was range 3, so there we go. So this is why you don't risk shooting the Hawk with things unless you can guarantee the kill. So he stays alive. Inky will then take the shot. Yeah, he gets a fuel leak on the last one of the game, which is fine. Inky had lined up to take the shot on Seevor. So at this point he has PS0'd Inky, so he gets to shoot at Vader. And what's very important here, this is why you have to take a deep breath into the game. After Seevor shoots, he forgets to jam Inky. He could have jammed the lock off, which is really key. So he measures for the crack shot. He has range but no crack shot, and because he blanks out here, he forgets to jam me. And that's a really big deal, because if I don't have the target lock, maybe I don't kill Seevor, and if he does that, he survives. So right, now Torkhil has a range 2 shot on Vader, gets 2 crits. Vader says spend a force.
No damage through.
Yep. Just one.
Already shot with the cartel.
Oh, has he?
Okay, so he took a shot with the cartel. Cartel didn't do any damage.
So we might
I'm just confirming that everything has shot. Then we go to Inky. So Inky has the shot onto Seevor to finish off the round.
I think this is a win for Ali.
And right now, it's almost at the end of the round, so I've won the game.
Yep.
As you can see, it took a little while, so that is time of the round. I want to confirm the kill anyway, so Inky picks up the dice, rolls 3 with focus and lock, drops dice on the floor, and spend the focus for 3 hits. So there we go. Wouldn't have actually mattered if the Hawk hadn't got it. But that is my first review game of the Worlds. So there we go. This was a really interesting game. Darwin flew really well in terms of not letting me get behind him. I had to play super cagey to get around him, and yeah, that was that. It's a really hard game, this one. I played against this list twice. I played against Niels Vos from Holland on the previous day. The Dutch are really good players. So yeah, we did that on the previous day, and it was pretty damn scary. So yeah, there we go. That is the first game. That is some of my thoughts, and you can look forward to 6 more of these as I go over all of the next games. So over the coming weeks, that's what I'm going to do. So thank you all for watching. This is going to be on my YouTube, so check out both my Twitch and my YouTube for that. And you can expect from next week some more of these, analysing exactly what my brain is thinking as we go through these games. So yeah, have a good evening, guys, and enjoy. Right, and now I've stopped recording. There we go. Let's just go back to that. I've got to go feed some bunnies. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. Amazing stuff. And I'll check in with you later. Likelihood is it'll be Monday that I'm going to stream next. So if you guys are looking for schedules, I know some of you are looking for schedules. I should be schedule-wise, if you clear your Monday evenings, likelihood is I will be at some point on Monday evening. I will be around for that. So there we go. Next one on the list is likely to be my game. If we're doing the FFG stream, it's probably going to be my game against Mitch Raab with the Star Vipers. So we'll move on to the top 4 before we do the top 8. What we're then going to do is we'll do the final because that is one of the best games of X-Wing I've played, and I want to make sure I have a recording of it before it gets taken off Twitch, because I lost my Nordic Nationals game. I never got to see my Nordic Nationals game. So we'll do that one, and then we'll go through all the other ones. For those of you interested, the 7 games that I had recorded, the first one obviously is this one, top 32. I had my top 8 against Bartosz Wojcicki from Poland, incredible player. He was playing 5 A-Wings, so I've got that one recorded. We have, that one's on X-Wing Junkies. You can go watch all of these now. They're all up online. X-Wing Junkies is on YouTube and Twitch, I believe. The FFG ones, you have this one, top 32. You have my top 4 game against Mitch Raab, and you have my final game against Dan Taylor. So Mitch Raab was the 4 Star Vipers, Dan Taylor was the Rebel. I'm not going to call it beef. It was an aggressive Rebel list. You also have 2 from the first day. My second round game against Nathan Idy, really good game. That was against 2 Jedi and 2 Arcs, so that was a really good one to play. That is on X-Wing Junkies. No, sorry, that's Gold Squadron. So Gold Squadron is that one. Then you have X-Wing Junkies game from round 5 against Alex Campos, a really nice Spanish guy with a terrifyingly aggressive list. You have Hera, you have Wedge, and you have a little K-Wing with diamond borer missiles and proton bombs. And oh my days, is the Ghost scary. So that's that. Anything else? I think those are all my stream games. So yeah, 1, 2 from the first day. 32. Maybe it was only that many. I swear I had another Drinkies once. Anyways, we've got all of the games. I'm going to go over them. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy.